Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fragrant Bunker. It's not only a TV show dedicated to Christian Dior, the new look, but coincidentally, as the show was launched, Christian Dior with Francis Kurkdjian also launched the Perfume new look. Coincidence? I don't know. But I did manage to gather a sample here because these big houses, LVMH owning Dior, when they launch a perfume and the price increases, price is really high. So I don't just blind buy these expensive giblets. We test them out first and then we find out, is it worth it or not? Of course, I have been a collector and an appreciator of the Collection Privée, which was then renamed Maison Christian Dior, and then it was renamed Collection Privée again from the get-go. When Francis Kurkdjian back in the early 2000s did Onir and Cologne Blanche for Christian Dior in the Cologne concentrations back then, and then all the way through Francois Demachy and all the way with a little intercourse with Olivier Polge, because we had Dior Homme coming out in collaboration with him. And then now, Demachy is gone, and we have Francis Kurkdjian as artistic director of the perfume house, of the perfumes for Dior. And we have the second release under his name that is not a flanker, but its own thing, under its own perfume under Collection Privée, which is the new look, or just new look. So I have a 2 milliliter spray sample. The really fun part about this video and review is that I have not smelt it yet, and I promise you, this is a true first impressions. Even at the Collection Privée Dior stand, I was talking to my sales associate, Dacob, you want to sniff it? You want to try? I was like, no. If you have a sample or two or more, I did get more. I got a stash just so that I can kind of really play with it and decide if I want to buy it or not. Like, give me the samples, but I don't want to know how this thing smells until I smell it for the first time in front of my audience. And so here we go. If you have not, but like my content, then subscribe to my channel. Push that subscription button, push the join button next to the subscription button, become a member today, gain access to extra perks. You can also follow me on Patreon, superdacob all spelled together there as well for extra perks. This video is being filmed live in front of a live virtual audience. So hi to my co-chatters. I hope everybody's excited to try this one out. Aish in the chat is already saying, instead of calling it new look, it should be called no luck. D says the suspense of it all. Oh my gosh. Yana says, OMG, I tested the new Dior new look and found it awful. Mahora says, oh boy. Okay, so my chat is not liking this perfume. Now, I'm not going to let anybody influence me, obviously. I have heard quite negative reviews about this, but then some people are also loving it. It's interesting how polarizing it seems to be. Now, me being the collector of Dior fragrances, back in the day, there was another new look at Dior, also from the Collection Privée collection. And I have it here in the 15 milliliter spray. Back in the day, they used to make them. They make them again now. Other perfumes, no longer new look 1947. But I do have a 15 ml spray. These cartridges were used to put inside a different type of cartouche. No, this is a cartouche that's entered like a metallic container. They don't make those anymore. Now they make different ones. But here I have several bottles of this stocked up when it was released. Gosh, over a decade ago now. Here, this is the new look 1947. So this is one of the bottles that I have used for travel, and I always put it in this little box, and you can see here the glass vial that goes into another container. But here we have the original 1947 new look, which we will compare, of course, in this video to the new one. Now, I have used up several bottles of this amber floral fragrance by Francois Demachy, and this is a beautiful powdery, by the way, unisex. It's in the description of the new look 1947, they do say that this is for men and women, although a lot of people say that it's more feminine than masculine. Me Perfumes Know No Gender in my book. Thumb up this video if you're enjoying it. But here we have the new look minus the 1947. So they simplified the name a little bit like when Chanel did 28 La Pausa and then Eau de Toilette, and then they changed it to just La Pausa. They took the 28 off to release the Eau de Parfum. Now, the new look 1947 is an Eau de Parfum, if I'm right. If I am correct. Yes. Where does it say, though? I think it's an Eau de Parfum. And the new look, oh my God, is also an Eau de Parfum. And here it does state at the side of the boxlet, Eau de Parfum. And the batch code is 3J01E. 2 mil. Chanel learned something. Chanel only gives us 1.5 mil. Christian Dior gives us 2 mil. So it is a very gray, slightly lilac-y gray, like a smidge of pink in there, you know? But it's a gray liquid, gray transparent liquid. I'm going to spray it. The first time ever that I'm smelling Francis Kurkdjian's new look for Dior Collection Privée. Here goes. We're going to do, quite a bit of spritzes. First impressions are good. I'm liking it, okay? But I am an aldehyde hoe. So give me a minute. We got to let this one simmer. Now, what does Dior tell us? Oh boy, the aldehydes, they're kicking in. More than a legacy, the Dior says, more than a silhouette, the new look is a state of mind, a way of viewing and reinterpreting the world. This powerful mindset has transcended time. True to Christian Dior, who wanted Dior perfume to be an olfactory mirror of his couture, I strove to retain this perfect symbiosis between fashion and fragrance with incredible daring. I wanted to create a Dior fragrance that echoes the spirit, nuances, and essence of the new look today, says Francis Kurkdjian, perfume creative director at Parfums Dior. So, exemplified by Christian Dior's iconic bar suit in 1947, the new look revolutionized fashion with its bold and elegant silhouette. Today, Francis Kurkdjian has reinvented this precious legacy as a daring Dior perfume for women and men, born of a bold creative approach that pushes the traditional boundaries of the amber fragrance. And in fact, we have top notes, very simple description of what they have here. Top notes aldehydes, mid notes frankincense, base notes amber. Now, Zach in the chat says, I like the presentation of the new look parfum. My sales associate sprayed it for me to a dedicated piece of fabric. Oh, it's changing. First of all, it is very different. Like, we are universes apart, okay, between New Look 1947 from Francois Demachy and New Look by Francis Kurkdjian. People are describing, I've read quite a few reviews that they're saying, oh, fresh sheets, drying laundry. Of course, that's what aldehydes are. But so they've used like an overdose of, pardon me, a particular aldehyde composed by Francis Kurkdjian. The new look olfactory silhouette revolves around an amber note and a fresh, highly concentrated aldehyde note, a vibrant frankincense accord. And somebody then mentions the aldehyde C12MNA. I don't know why people are so critical of this one. I'm kind of liking it. It's making me think, which is a good thing. It's a good thing when a perfume kind of pushes me in a... It's very... I mean, the frankincense, I completely smell... I get church vibes, but it's a clean church, like a church, where apparently there has been no sin. You know what I mean? Or has there? It seems strategically okay. So conceptually speaking, you know how we know Francis Kurkdjian for Le Mal, his first thing that made him huge, famous perfume from the 90s, Jean-Paul Gaultier. And then we know, unfortunately, Baccarat Rouge, which to me is just an obnoxious piece of trash for influencers and whoever is manipulated by them to also want to wear it and emulate them. But then, we have Onir, and then we have Cologne Blanche, which are, I have here the original Cologne Blanche in its Cologne concentration. It's a... Back then it was in a splash bottle. Oh, the beauty. I mean, this... It doesn't compare. This thing is a masterpiece in its own right. I'm not talking about the reformulated eau de parfum. I'm talking about the OG Cologne. Now, so he has a thing, and this is the conceptual part I was talking about. I was trying to get to. Francis has a thing for something very synthetic, which he can live out for his Gaultier creations. He also did By the Power of Two, Gaultier. There's something very filling the air, the room. It's like insanely intense, right? Now here, it's like he's doing that, but he cannot really go there because this is Dior after all. With Onir, he could play that game because he was not committed to Dior in terms of being the perfume director at Dior. He was invited to just collaborate while Hedi Slimane, by the way, Hedi Slimane designed the bottles back then. These are very different from the modern bottles. So here we have an Eau de Parfum Bois d'Argent, and you can see the difference in thickness. They're both 250 ml, but the glass was much more elegant back then and more expensive to make than the newer glass, which is cheaper. See how thin the bottom of these bottles used to be. So much more elegant and beautiful. Now they're a little bit, stumpy and cheaper made. They cost more to buy for us, but the quality of these bottles is not the same. So Hedi Slimane designed these, and he allowed Francis to go there with Onir and create something insanely intense because he wanted it to be his signature fragrance as well. Hedi back in the day. But now that Francis has become the all-encompassing Dior man, he has to stay very within the Dior DNA. He can't make himself too present. So I can see where this is going. He's trying to keep it clean Dior, like a little bit more truthful to what Demachy used to do, but he's also trying to put his footprint on the fragrant landscape of Dior, which is a very tricky thing to do because obviously he probably has the marketing team on his neck telling him, hey, we got a certain type of clientele. They're used to a certain type of smell. Do not mess this up. Stick to that. They're probably not giving him too much wiggle room. And so he's trying, I feel, to do... He wants to go there. Now, Stephanie says, it reminds me of Comme des Garçons' Incense Avignon. Intriguing. Well, interesting that you might say that because I have a bottle just here. What a coincidence. It's different, frankincense is frankincense. Okay, so when you start putting incenses into fragrances, depending which sort of incense you're working with, of course, it can go places. Yes, this does have a similarity to Avignon, for sure, but that's because of that type of frankincense they're using. However, to me, thus far, the amber and the frankincense together deliver a sweeter type of incense. So for me, if we're going to compare, and I would not do it, but if you in the chats, if we want to compare New Look to one of the 5 Comme des Garçons incenses, then this comes for me closer to Jassalmer than to Avignon. Because the amber with the incense creates a slight sweetness, a spicy sweetness. So for me, this is more Jassalmer than Avignon. Jassalmer when it dries down, not when you first spray it, because Jassalmer when you first spray it is more sparkly, not aldehyde sparkly, but it has more spiciness to it. Mahora says it's a cross between Avignon and Bois d'Argent. I have Bois d'Argent here. I mean, I know my Dior perfumes, you got, you know what I mean? Like the collection privée. So I'm not just sitting here like a novice, not having a clue what I'm talking about. I got all of these babies. And I've gone through like 4 bottles of Bois d'Argent. I love Bois d'Argent. Bois d'Argent also has an incense accord in it. So obviously, you guys, we mustn't be too quick. Incense is a strong note. Okay, it's a dominant character. So the second we have incense in a fragrance, we can be tricked to believe that it smells like another fragrance that also has incense, when in reality, there's other players in this game. Stephanie says, oh, good point, Dacob, right? It is more Jassalmerish. It's beautiful. I'm loving it. Okay. And you know my nose. I mean, I usually am really quick to be like, no, if I don't like it, I don't like it. There's like, you know, I can then conceptually appreciate a perfume with time. I can understand it more. There's something in here, and the list of ingredients does not specify. But you tell me, anybody who tried Francis's New Look, does anybody sniff out a little bit of the Immortel that we also have in Onir? Curry, in other words. I'm sniffing out a bit of Immortel in here, which makes this go indolic sour a little bit. And I can see how this can become predominant as a note on some people's skins. So it might smell like a gaggy or just obnoxious. I smell a little bit of Immortel. Mahora says, yes, it's quite green though. I would say it's gray. It's a gray. Oh, there you go. Oh, there you go. Yana says, yes, I also smelled the curry note. Okay, so I'm not alone on this. Okay. And, but so just to explain to you how my skin, all of us have different skin chemistries. Hormonal balances are different. The oils in our skins are different. So we all kind of react differently to perfumes. Now, I have a very, it's, how to say it without sounding obnoxious. When I say clear skin, I don't mean my skin is clear. I have the worst acne you could imagine. But by clear, I mean, I have this musky accord on my skin, which is very white. again, this sounds obnoxious again, pale white skin. It's like, musks, there's different types of musks. So by this, what I mean is when I wear bitter perfumes, when I wear particularly heavy gourmand perfumes, when I wear a fragrance like New Look, where frankincense is dominated, but then there's that amber at the base with overdose of aldehydes. Aldehydes turn very soft on my skin. So aldehydes, this is why I love Chanel, by the way. Not for nothing. People say like, oh, okay, you always love Chanel. Well, it's the aldehydes. They really work well on my skin. And aldehydes have a tendency of turning soft, almost slightly, ever so slightly sweet. And in fact, this thing is going in that delicate, powdery sweet accord. That's the aldehydes on my skin. My skin loves aldehydes. So this thing is becoming extremely gorgeous the more it warms up. Now the amber is starting to cook, it's starting to cook on my skin. So it's starting to warm up the incense. And they're meshing, they're blending together. It's like a witch that's been kind of brewing something, and now it's kind of like getting mixed and mixed and mixed. Now the big question is, as this review goes on, time passes, and from the top notes, we're going into the mid notes, we're going into the base notes. How is the base going to be? Is this going to turn into a total mess at the end of this journey, of this trajectory, or is it going to be a beautifully harmonizing cacophony of ingredients, T-Pal, the witch is on her way to church, but not to be burned, T-Pal, but rather to give a sermon. It's a new world. It's a new look and a new world where the witches are very invited and welcome to join the party, obviously. Audrey says, I love a hot mess. Like a bit of Onir and Maison Francis Kurkdjian 724 with added amber and incense. It's not really Onir, and I mean, I have Onir here as well. I actually have, so cute, the little miniature bottle of the new Onir. I love the green one. The green one is my favorite, but it's a little bit softened down in the new version. But here it is, Onir. And, Onir is a little bit more deep and layered and mysterious, and there's burnt woods in there as well, and the licorice and the fennel and the immortelle create such a mystical vibe, even more witchy. This is a real witch, Onir. Okay. It's almost like, you know what? If you guys are mentioning Onir, I think we could talk about Onir and New Look as being the opposites, like the mirror images of each other. I think if we see it that way, then we can definitely, we can talk. Now we're talking. It almost seems like New Look is the light sister of Onir. Onir is that dark witch, and then New Look is the light witch. And they're from the same family, but one is more mysterious and brooding, and we don't know exactly what's going on. Is she going to turn out to be evil or good? And the other, the Wicked Witch of the East and the Wicked Witch of the West, or the whatever, from the, the very Wizard of Oz. It's like one is its own shadow. One is the shadow, one is the light. The good witch, yeah. But, like many perfumes of Francis Kurkdjian, I feel there's a twist coming here because, you know, it's giving me a particular. This is not a fully good witch. I'm warming it up with my nostrils and then inhaling it to get closer to the dry down essence, and it's really beautiful. The frankincense is gorgeous. The frankincense in here. Oh. It's like delicately sweet. The aldehydes are keeping it alive. It's an incense that's alive. It's vibrant. It's very, very vibrant. It's very vibrant and it's beautiful. And the woods are kicking in now that the frankincense is coming alive. And I think it's the amber. It's warming it up. It's very alive. It's very alive and still. And that's what I'm getting. I'm getting this. Oh, so beautiful. I'm getting this vision of nature just freezing in time. Birds flying, trees, leaves moving in the wind, the grass, the whispers. It just stops. Nothing falls. It's not like the birds just fall in midair, you know, because they're there. They're just stuck. Everything just froze. And like for a split second, you see everything so clearly. It's like you're hyper focused. And in that split second when everything freezes, you can kind of zoom into things and see all around you, peripheral vision, what's behind you, what's in front of you. And everything becomes so clear, sparkling. Oh, that's the aldehydes, isn't it? And then as you blink, everything starts moving again, like it never stopped. But you have the memory of it stopping and becoming a very clear vision. You know, it's like you have the memory of it, of nature surrounding you being still, and you understanding everything, like the Matrix kind of almost. You know, like you entered into the Matrix, but as a conscious being, conscious of entering it rather than being unconscious and not being even aware. Oh, it's so beautiful. I love this perfume as a concept. Is this easy to wear every day, all day? I have a sneaky suspicion this is going to be a little bit of a. It's going to stick around for hours and hours and hours, at least in the first formulation. You know how it's going to be. If you don't buy it now, if their sales numbers are not the best, Francis and his team are going to go back into the lab and they're going to tweak it, and the next batches are going to be slightly different. You know what I mean? So everything I say in this video is for entertainment purposes only, not rooted in truths or facts. Everything's alleged and just my opinion. So, and it is my opinion that perfumes get reformulated more often than not. And this one is conceptually very out there. It's like daring. It's like, it's very Francis. The good years, okay, from the good old times, but trying to be very Dior. But conceptually, I think this is beautiful to wear at home, and when you're in that mood for everything to stand still for a second, and you have this spiritual awakening of like realizing how everything works. Everything is crystal clear for a minute, for a second. But to have those visions and that crystalline acknowledgement and awakening 50,000 times throughout the day because you oversprayed this and you're wearing it to work and you're wearing it out and about and you're like, you know what I mean? You're living with, I think then it becomes too much. I think this thing is really powerful and it needs to be enjoyed in small doses in very special occasions. It's almost, you know, it's spiritual. And not just because there's incense in it, but Mahora says, the paper I sprayed it on smelled fresh and insanely strong for weeks. Well, that's how it smells on me. Extremely vibrantly fresh. Cool tones, says Rachel. Yes, it reads unusually cold for me despite some of these traditionally warm materials. I like it. Oh, great. You like it too? Yeah. Oh, thank you. Your hair is stunning today. Thank you very much. Thanks, Rach. Oh, Stephanie says, your description of new look as gray is a fitting compliment for a Dior juice. Monsieur Dior would approve. Oh, he loved his gray, didn't he? Yana says, Deco, whenever you describe a perfume I do not like, I want to smell it again to find out if I'm able to find the same beauty in it. You really bring stories to life. That's a true gift. Thank you, Yana. Very kind of you. And I mean, like I said, I do like it, you guys, but at the same time, I would not like to have this around me all day because it forces me to think in a certain way. And for that reason, you know, I would say this is a perfume that has a very strong character. And I do love perfumes with strong characters, but if I'm going to, you know, go about my day, run my errands, simple day on the town, or having a meeting, or going to lunch, whatever I have to do, I'm not always ready for something that is going to set my mind tone into this hyper alertness of reality. So, you know, that's where Bois d'Argent is good, because Bois d'Argent, despite the incense and the honey, it follows you. Okay, it follows you throughout the day. This thing I can see totally not following you throughout the day, but kind of you end up following it instead. And that can become annoying to some people. And this is why I think ultimately they're probably going to go back into the lab, tweak it, tone it down so that it becomes more user-friendly. I know this is terrible to say but that's 2024. That's the times we live in, you guys. The second a perfume shows too much character, go back to the lab, tweak it, because we want to sell more and we can't sell too much if this thing is too overpowering. But having said that, I love the fact that it's overpowering because the way I wear perfume, there are those perfumes that I wear to just go out and about and whatever, you know, be wee. But then there's most of the perfumes that I love. I wear them at home alone for myself, me, myself, and I. And I dose them delicately, sometimes just a droplet, just to get a little smidge of it. I spice my existence with perfumes at home. In other words, it's like when you make a salad and you add just a pinch of salt, a little bit of pepper, just a little bit, you know, this is like my skin is the salad, and perfumes throughout the day when I'm home alone, I spice my skin up with perfumes. I kid you not, I don't overspray. I would just put a little droplet, flavor it, feel it, and then I would move on to something else. And I think that New Look is perfect for that. If you are that type of perfume wearer, if you are that type of perfume, I don't want to say sommelier, but you know, if you enjoy your perfumes like I do, not just for the sake of getting compliments, not just for the sake of, you know, wearing it out and about for others to smell you. I don't care what others smell on me. I wear perfume for me, first and foremost. So for me, it's an intimate affair. And when I discover a perfume like this, it takes me immediately to my privacy. This is the New Look from Francis Kurkdjian for Dior, to me personally, is very much that perfume that I wear for myself when I have a moment alone. And I would I definitely oversprayed this. I did like, what, 4 sprays, to do my first test. 1 spritz would be enough, probably on my chest, so the warmth would emanate. And one little smidge, half a spritz, just, and then enjoy it for however long it lasts, and then we move to something else. But I completely envision this for a private, personal moment at home, alone. And Mahora says, finally, a challenging Dior release. I may not like it, but it does make you think, which is a good thing. Teepaw says, the new Bunka tea. I spice my existence. Well, in a legal, good way, obviously, with perfumes. And Sweet Thing says, oh, the panty dropping, LOL. Yes, I mean, there's those type of, the fragrance bros. They're going to kind of really butcher the art of perfumery by reducing it to something so plebeian and vile and primitive, like, panty dropper. It saddens me that the masses follow those baboons and go for that. When perfumes, that's not even scratching the surface, of what perfumes really are. And a fragrance like New Look delivers a glimpse behind the curtain. There you have. Now I'm getting there. Ooh, chills. Okay. All my hairs on my back went like this. That's what this is. It's a glimpse behind the curtain. This is a highly spiritual fragrance, you guys. My whole spine just went like... You are not allowed to be here. And you found your way here by accident. And in front of you is a curtain, and you know you're not allowed to look what's behind the curtain. But you anyway decide to take a peek. But your morals don't allow you to really stand there and glare. Instead, you take a peek and close it immediately. So what you have seen are shadows, an idea of what is going on behind that curtain. Whatever is going on behind that curtain is very powerful and strong. At the moment, too overbearing for you to handle. You know you cannot look again. But you can keep looking at the curtain, just not looking what's behind it. It's a beautiful, heavy, heavy silk velvet curtain. Dusty. It's been there for centuries. You end up just staring at it. And that velvet is so thick that it absorbs all sound. So you don't really get to hear what is being spoken and talked about on the other side. But you feel there's life there. Something important is happening there. But you're on the other side. And there's that curiosity and energy connected to that whole attention, that whole desire. It gives you life because you know there's more. You know there's more to all of this. Mahora says, you took a new look. A glimpse. So not really new look, new glimpse. Sweet Thing says, this one sounds interesting, although probably not something I'd want to wear myself. This one is It's a moment, definitely a moment. It's a beauty. It really is a beauty, and I will be buying a bottle. So there you have it. Mrs. Blue. Hi, Mrs. Blue says only Dacob can describe a perfume like this. It's almost like listening to a guided meditation. Well, perfumes for me are like they are not like, they are meditation. I mean, when you really allow a perfume to speak to you, the stories it tells. I mean, look, this vision of this curtain, it just like came to me and shivers down my spine. I'm like, okay, that's the vision. It's taking me there. That's exactly what this is. You standing behind the curtain, knowing that you really don't want to know what's on the other side. Not fully. You don't want that mystery to disappear. You keep the mystery alive. Oof. Ooh, I'm completely like, oh. This coincidentally is very connected to this kind of cartomancer, maybe clairvoyance. Not really. It's the truth is already out there. Card tarot reading. You know, Christian Dior was very superstitious, allegedly, right? Always got the cards read. You know, fortune telling. This, oh my God. Okay. Okay. The fortune teller is on the other side of the curtain. Telling the truth. And you're too scared to go to the other side of the curtain and hear what the fortune teller has to say. That's what this is. It's the fortune teller. Oof. Yeah, this thing is really good. I mean, it's very conceptual. Like I said, not to be worn all day long. This thing is way too powerful for that. It has a very specific meaning, and you gotta be in that zone, in that moment, and then you can't do it too long. It's starting to fade slowly. There's a woodsy accord in there as well, but it stays quite linear, you know. Beautifully clean. The aldehydes are still powerful, powerful. It's a beauty. Okay, it's a poetic perfume. I think Francis really tried hard here. I think he really did. I think he really wanted to pay respect to Dior, and I can smell it in this. That I can smell like his good intentions. I can smell his respect. I can smell his love. You know, it's a very, very somber, humble and humbling perfume. It smells like he was very humble while creating this. This perfume doesn't smell like some megalomaniac created it. This perfume doesn't smell like some egotistical, you know, me person created it. This is a very humble, truthful creation. Beautiful. Beautiful. Despina says, I thought behind the curtain was the after death life. Well, my dear, it could very well be. After all, what does the cartomancer do but show you a glimpse behind that specific curtain you just mentioned? Oof. Oh, chills down my spine. Really good. This one is, it's a yes for me. It's a yes for me. Not a blind purchase. Do not purchase this blindly. This thing is not a blind purchase at all. And be very careful how you dose it. Minimal amount the more you spray, the more you're gonna, and then you won't be able to take it because it's going to be too truthful. You gotta take the truth in small doses. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this first impressions / review, I suppose. I believe the truth, and I say this often, and I have not read it anywhere else. This is not a quote. This is me. Truth is never given. Truth has to be taken. Until next time, subscribe, thumb up this video if you liked it, and never give up on love. Take care, guys. Bye.